Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
What if Naruto left Konoha and became Yugito's partner? The Exiled Jinchūriki's Harem Part 1. The first thing Naruto Uzumaki noticed was that the rain had stopped. For 3 days, Konoha had been buried beneath gray clouds. Rain had washed the village roofs clean, turned the training grounds into mud, and filled the gutters with leaves. Now, just before sunrise, the sky was finally beginning to clear. Naruto stood alone at the eastern gate of the village. A small travel pack rested against his shoulder. His forehead protector was tied firmly around his forehead, his orange and black jacket replaced by a darker shinobi cloak, and a newly sharpened kunai rested against his thigh. He looked back. Konoha was still sleeping. For once, there were no villagers staring at him. No whispers. No frightened children being pulled away by their parents. No old man muttering about the 9 tails. There was only silence. Naruto smiled faintly. Guess this is goodbye. He had expected to feel sad. He didn't. Not yet. The mission ahead was supposed to last 6 months. A diplomatic exchange between Konohagakure and Kumogakure. Training. Information sharing. Cooperation between shinobi. That was what the official mission scroll said. But Naruto knew there was more to it. He had been chosen because of the 9 tails. Kumo had 2 Jinchūriki. Konoha had 1. The village elders believed that allowing Naruto to spend time around another Jinchūriki might help him understand the power sealed inside him. Naruto wasn't convinced. For 12 years, everyone had treated the 9 tails like a monster. Now they suddenly wanted him to become friends with someone else carrying a monster inside her. Typical. He adjusted his pack. 6 months, he muttered. Then he heard footsteps. Naruto turned. Kakashi Hatake approached through the gate, one hand inside his pocket and his visible eye curved lazily. "You're early." Naruto blinked. "I'm always early." Kakashi stared at him. "You arrived 20 minutes before the appointed time." "Exactly. That is early." Naruto frowned. "What's your point?" "Nothing." Kakashi stopped beside him. For a few moments, neither spoke. Then Kakashi looked toward the road. "You understand the rules. Don't start fights." "Good. Don't insult the Raikage." "Very good. Don't steal anything." "Excellent. Don't challenge every strong ninja I meet." Kakashi paused. "That's the one I'm most worried about." Naruto grinned. "I won't." Kakashi's eye narrowed. "You're lying." "Maybe." The older shinobi sighed. Then his expression became serious. "Naruto. Yeah, this isn't a normal mission." Naruto's smile faded. "I know. Kumo is not Konoha. Their shinobi are trained differently. Their politics are different. Their attitude toward Jinchūriki is different." Naruto nodded. And don't assume everyone there will welcome you." "I don't." "Good." Kakashi reached into his pouch and pulled out a small scroll. "Your official orders." Naruto took it. He glanced at the seal. "Anything else?" Kakashi hesitated. "Yes." Naruto looked up. "Yugito ni." Naruto had heard the name. Everyone had. She was a highly skilled Kumo kunoichi. A Jinchūriki. Host of the 2 tails. And according to the intelligence reports, one of the few Jinchūriki in the world capable of controlling her Biju without losing herself. Naruto had spent years wondering what that felt like. To have something enormous and terrifying living inside your soul. To hear another voice in your head. To feel power that didn't completely belong to you. He had never met anyone who understood. Perhaps Yugito would. "Why are you telling me about her?" "She will be responsible for part of your training." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Training. Combat training." His grin returned. "Oh." Kakashi sighed. "That's exactly the reaction I was afraid of." Naruto laughed. "Don't worry, Kakashi-sensei. I'll behave. You said that before the bell tower incident. That was different. You blew up a bell tower. It was already old. It was 300 years old. Exactly. It had a good run. Kakashi covered his face. Naruto laughed again. But when he finally turned toward the road, his expression changed. He looked at Konoha one last time. Something about the village felt different this morning. Maybe because he was leaving. Maybe because, for the first time in his life, he was walking toward somewhere instead of running away from something. Kakashi noticed. You'll be back. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Then he started walking. The journey to the land of lightning took 8 days. Naruto traveled alone. He crossed forests, rivers and mountain passes. The farther he moved from Fire Country, the more the landscape changed. The trees became thinner. The roads became steeper. Eventually, enormous mountains appeared in the distance. Their peaks disappeared into the clouds. Naruto stopped at the edge of a cliff. So that's Lightning Country. The mountains looked almost impossible. Jagged stone rose from the earth like the teeth of some ancient beast. Thunder rolled somewhere beyond them. Naruto smiled. Interesting. He continued. By the 7th evening, he reached a small border settlement. He rented a room at an inn and sat beside the window. A storm was approaching. Lightning flashed across the horizon. Naruto watched it silently. Then he felt it. A presence. Someone was watching him. His hand moved toward his kunai. The sensation disappeared. Naruto frowned. He opened the window. Nothing. Just rain. He closed it. A few seconds later, a voice came from behind him. You're terrible at pretending you didn't notice. Naruto spun. A woman stood on the balcony. Blonde hair. Dark eyes. A Kumo forehead protector. She wore a sleeveless combat outfit and carried a sword at her waist. Naruto's eyes narrowed. You're Yugito. She smiled. And you're Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto glanced at the door. You could have knocked. I did. I didn't hear you. I know. She stepped inside. Naruto studied her carefully. She didn't feel hostile. But she was dangerous. Very dangerous. He could sense it. The chakra inside her was enormous. Different from his own. Hot. Sharp. Predatory. Yugito looked him over. You're younger than I expected. Naruto shrugged. People say that. They also say you're reckless. People say that too. They say you're loud. Naruto pointed at himself. Me? Yes. That's ridiculous. Yugito smiled. You're shouting. Naruto blinked. Then he realized he was. He lowered his voice. Okay. Yugito laughed. It was the first genuine laugh Naruto had heard from another shinobi in days. Something about it surprised him. You're different from the reports. What reports? The ones that say you're unstable. Naruto's smile disappeared. Yugito noticed. I didn't mean. It's fine. No, it isn't. Naruto looked away. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Yugito sat on the edge of the table. You know why Kumo agreed to this exchange? Because both villages want better relations. That's the official answer. Naruto looked at her. And the real answer? Yugito's expression became serious. Kumo wants to know how much control you really have over the 9 tails. Naruto's eyes hardened. And Konoha wants to know how much control you have over the 2 tails. Exactly. So were experiments. Not exactly. Sounds like experiments. Yugito shrugged. Maybe we're both useful weapons that happen to have names. Naruto stared at her. She smiled sadly. That isn't a joke. Naruto understood. More than she realized. The 9 tails had been inside him since birth. People looked at him and saw the beast. Maybe people looked at Yugito the same way. For the first time, Naruto felt that he wasn't completely alone. Yugito stood. Tomorrow morning, we start training. Naruto grinned. How hard? Her smile became dangerous. Hard enough that you'll regret asking. Naruto's eyes lit up. Awesome. Yugito shook her head. You really are strange. People say that too. The next morning began badly. Naruto arrived at the training ground at sunrise. Yugito was already there. She stood in the center of a clearing surrounded by stone pillars. Naruto stretched. So what's first? Taijutsu. Easy. Yugito disappeared. Naruto barely raised his arm before her fist slammed into his guard. Boom. He flew backward. He crashed through 3 trees. Easy. Yugito repeated. Naruto slowly stood. His arm tingled. He grinned. Okay. He charged. The fight lasted 11 seconds. Yugito won. Naruto hit the ground hard enough to create a crater. He stared at the sky. Again. Yugito folded her arms. You're not ready. Naruto jumped up. I didn't ask if I was ready. You're injured. I've had worse. That isn't an argument. It is for me. Yugito stared at him. Then she smiled. Fine. The second round lasted 23 seconds. The third lasted 40. The fourth lasted almost 2 minutes. By noon, Naruto was covered in bruises. Yugito had barely broken a sweat. Naruto sat beneath a tree. This is cheating. You're the one who challenged me. You're stronger than the reports said. So are you. Naruto looked at her. You mean that? Yes. Yugito sat across from him. You're fast. I'm faster than you. She laughed. No. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Want to prove it? Not today. Coward. She kicked him in the leg. Naruto laughed. For the first time since leaving Konoha, he felt happy. That evening, Yugito found Naruto sitting on the roof. You don't sleep much. Naruto looked at the stars. Not really. Nightmares. Sometimes. About the 9 tails. Naruto was silent. Then he nodded. Yugito climbed onto the roof beside him. I used to have them too. Naruto turned. The 2 tails. Yes. What happened? I learned to stop fighting it. Naruto frowned. Stop fighting it. The beast inside you isn't just chakra. I know. No, I don't think you do. Yugito looked toward the mountains. Biju have memories, emotions, anger, pride, loneliness. Naruto listened. You can't dominate something that thinks. You can suppress it. You can imprison it. But eventually, it pushes back. Naruto looked down at his hands. I've tried talking to it. Yugito smiled. And, it hates me. You're sure? Naruto hesitated. I think so. Yugito shook her head. Maybe it hates what you represent. What do I represent? The cage. Naruto's breathing stopped. Yugito continued. You were born as its prison. The words hurt. Not because they were cruel. Because they made sense. Naruto had always thought of the 9 tails as his enemy. But perhaps the 9 tails thought the same thing about him. A cage. A jailer. A human face attached to an unwanted prison. Naruto looked toward the dark horizon. Then what am I supposed to do? Yugito smiled. Ask it. Naruto frowned. Ask what? Why it hates you. That night, Naruto entered his inner world. He stood before the enormous cage. The 9 tails opened one eye. Back again. Naruto swallowed. Usually he shouted. Usually the fox shouted louder. This time, Naruto simply sat down. The 9 tails stared. What are you doing? Talking. I have nothing to say to you. Fine. Naruto leaned against the cage. All listen. Silence. The fox's eye narrowed. You think this changes anything? I don't know. You are still my jailer. Naruto looked at the bars. I didn't choose this. Neither did I. The words struck harder than any punch. Naruto looked up. The 9 tails was staring directly at him. For the first time, Naruto didn't see only hatred. He saw exhaustion, anger, loneliness, and something else. Pain. I don't want to be your enemy, Naruto whispered. The fox growled. Then stop treating me like one. Naruto stared. The 9 tails turned away. Leave. Naruto stood. Okay. He began walking. Then the fox spoke again. Uzumaki. Naruto stopped. Your chakra is changing. Naruto looked back. What? The Nine Tails narrowed its eyes. You have noticed nothing. No. The fox smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Then you have much to learn. 3 weeks passed. Naruto improved rapidly. His taijutsu became sharper. His chakra control improved. His ability to sense the Nine Tails became clearer. But something else was changing. His chakra. It was becoming denser, stronger, almost electric. Yugito noticed first. During one training session, Naruto's Rasengan suddenly changed. The blue sphere became surrounded by thin sparks of yellow-white chakra. Yugito stepped backward. What was that? Naruto stared at his hand. I don't know. The chakra vanished. Yugito's expression was serious. Do it again. I don't know how. Try. Naruto concentrated. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. Then the Nine Tails chakra brushed against his own. The Rasengan formed. Lightning crawled around its surface. Yugito's eyes widened. That isn't normal. Naruto smiled. Normal is boring. Yugito didn't smile back. No. She looked toward the mountains. It isn't. 2 days later, Kumo was attacked. The alarm sounded just after midnight. Naruto woke instantly. Explosions shook the village. People shouted. Shinobi rushed through the streets. Yugito appeared at Naruto's window. Get dressed. What happened? Unknown attackers. How many? 20 confirmed. Possibly more. Naruto grabbed his weapons. Let's go. They reached the western wall. A group of masked shinobi were attacking from outside. Their chakra signatures were strange. Naruto frowned. They're not normal bandits. No. Yugito drew her sword. They're after something. What? She looked at Naruto. You. Naruto's eyes widened. What? A massive explosion destroyed part of the wall. 3 masked shinobi landed in front of them. The leader pointed at Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto stepped forward. You know my name. We know what's inside you. Naruto's expression hardened. The Nine Tails stirred. Yugito moved beside him. Stay behind me. Naruto grinned. No. She looked at him. Don't. I've been training for 3 weeks. This isn't training. I know. Naruto stepped forward. I want to see what I can do. The masked man laughed. You think you can control the Nine Tails? Naruto's eyes changed. For one brief moment, his pupils became slitted. The air around him seemed to grow heavier. The attackers stopped laughing. Naruto smiled. No. His chakra erupted. I think the Nine Tails and I are going to figure that out together. The battle began. Naruto vanished. His fist struck the first attacker in the stomach. The man flew across the street. The second attacked from behind. Yugito intercepted him. Her movements were almost invisible. A kick, a sword strike, a spinning elbow. The attacker collapsed. The third pulled out a ceiling tag. Naruto sensed danger. Yugito. She turned. The tag exploded. Naruto moved before thinking. He grabbed Yugito and jumped. The explosion swallowed the street. They landed on a rooftop. Yugito stared at him. You saved me. Naruto shrugged. Partners do that. She smiled. Partners. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Below them, the masked leader stood among the flames. He slowly removed his mask. Naruto's expression changed. He recognized the symbol carved into the man's forehead. It was an old Uzumaki seal. Impossible. The man smiled. You truly don't know. Naruto stared. Know what? The stranger raised one hand. The reason your parents died. Naruto froze. Yugito looked at him. The stranger continued. The Nine Tails attack was not an accident. Naruto's heart stopped. What did you say? The man laughed. Ask the people of Konoha who really sealed the beast inside you. Then he vanished into the smoke. Naruto stood completely still. The battle around him became distant. His heartbeat filled his ears. His parents. The Nine Tails. Konoha. The seal. A lie. Maybe everything he believed about himself was built on one. Yugito placed a hand on his shoulder. Naruto. He didn't respond. Naruto. His eyes slowly turned toward her. What if? His voice broke. What if everyone lied to me? Yugito looked into his eyes. Then we find the truth. Naruto clenched his fists. For years, he had dreamed of becoming Hokage. For years, he had believed recognition would make the pain disappear. But now another desire was taking shape. Something stronger. Something darker. The truth. He looked toward the mountains of Lightning Country. The storm had returned. Lightning illuminated the clouds. Naruto's chakra began to rise. Somewhere deep inside him, the Nine Tails opened its eyes. And for the first time, the beast did not laugh. It whispered. The storm did not end that night. It followed Naruto. At least, that was how it felt. For the next 3 days, thunder rolled across the mountains surrounding Kumogakure. Dark clouds gathered above the village, and lightning repeatedly illuminated the cliffs like flashes from a forgotten war. Naruto barely noticed. He had stopped sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the masked man's words. The Nine Tails attack was not an accident. Ask the people of Konoha who really sealed the beast inside you. The reason your parents died. Naruto sat alone on the roof of the building assigned to him. His knees were pulled toward his chest. He stared at the clouds. His mind kept returning to one question. Why? Why had nobody told him? Why had everyone allowed him to grow up believing that he was simply the boy who survived? Why had the village looked at him with fear? And why had the stranger possessed an Uzumaki seal? A door opened behind him. Naruto didn't turn. You're awake again. Yugito stepped onto the roof. She carried 2 cups. She handed one to him. Naruto looked at it. Tea. I don't like tea. You need something warm. I like ramen. I know. How? You talk about it constantly. Naruto smiled weakly. Then the smile disappeared. Yugito sat beside him. Neither spoke for several seconds. Finally she asked, "You're going to Konoha?" Naruto looked at her. Eventually. You want answers. Yes. And if the answers hurt? Naruto stared at the cup. They already hurt. Yugito nodded. Then you're ready. Naruto frowned. You make it sound easy. It isn't. Then why aren't you telling me not to go? Because I know what it's like to have questions nobody else will answer. Naruto studied her. The 2 tails. Yugito nodded. When I was younger, I thought everyone was afraid of me because I was dangerous. Weren't they? Some were. She smiled sadly. But some were afraid because they didn't understand me. Naruto looked toward the village. What's the difference? Yugito thought about it. Fear makes people build cages. And understanding teaches you when to open them. Naruto was silent. Then he whispered, I don't know if I can forgive Konoha. Yugito looked at him. You don't have to. The Raikage summoned them at dawn. Naruto had never met the leader of Kumogakure before. The first thing he noticed was his size. The second thing he noticed was the pressure. The Raikage stood behind a large desk, arms folded across his chest. 2 guards stood nearby. Darui was there as well, leaning casually against the wall. The Raikage stared at Naruto. So. Naruto stared back. So. Darui sighed. This is going to be a long morning. The Raikage ignored him. You were targeted because of the 9 tails. Naruto nodded. Probably. We don't know who they were. We know enough. The Raikage placed a folder on the desk. Naruto glanced at it. What is that? Intelligence. About the attackers. About your clan. Naruto's expression changed. Yugito stood beside him. The Raikage continued. The Uzumaki clan was destroyed because several nations feared their sealing techniques. Naruto nodded slowly. I know that. No. The Raikage's voice hardened. You know the history that Konoha teaches. Naruto looked up. There is a difference. A very large one. He opened the folder. Inside were photographs, old documents, maps, seals. Naruto stepped closer. One photograph showed a ruined village. Another showed several masked shinobi surrounding a shrine. The third showed a symbol Naruto recognized immediately. The spiral crest of Uzushiogakure. Naruto's hands tightened. Where did you get these? From our archives. Why would Kumo have Uzumaki records? The Raikage looked at him. Because we fought beside them. Naruto froze. What? Before your birth, Kumo had an agreement with Uzushiogakure. Yugito's eyes narrowed. What kind of agreement? Military cooperation. Naruto stared at the documents. If Kumo was their ally, then we had reason to protect them. Did you? The room became silent. The Raikage's expression darkened. No. Naruto swallowed. Why? Politics. The answer was simple, and somehow worse than anything else. Naruto closed his eyes. How many died? Thousands. Naruto looked down. Because nobody wanted to risk a war. The Raikage nodded. Your clan's enemies knew that. They attacked when the larger nations were unwilling to respond. Naruto's voice became bitter. And Konoha did nothing. The Raikage said nothing. That silence was enough. Naruto stepped away from the desk. So everyone abandoned them. Not everyone. The voice came from the doorway. An elderly man entered. Naruto didn't know him. The man carried a cane. His eyes were tired, but there was something familiar about his face. He looked at Naruto for a long time. Then he whispered, "Minato's son." Naruto froze. You knew my father. The old man nodded. I knew him. Naruto stepped forward. Tell me everything. The old man looked toward the Raikage. The Raikage nodded. The old man sighed. Your father was not supposed to die that night. Naruto's heart stopped. What? Minato Namikaze was one of the greatest shinobi of his generation. I know. No. The old man shook his head. You know the legend. He pointed at Naruto. But you don't know the man. Naruto stood silently. Your father discovered something. What? A conspiracy. Naruto's eyes widened. Inside Konoha. The old man nodded. Someone had been manipulating the conflict between the villages. For what? To create another great war. Naruto's breathing became shallow. Why? The old man looked directly at him. Because war creates power. That evening, Naruto returned to his room. He didn't eat. He didn't train. He simply sat on the floor. Yugito watched him from the doorway. You're thinking too much. Naruto laughed without humor. Apparently my entire life is a lie. Not your entire life. How would you know? Because I know what is real. Naruto looked at her. What? Yugito stepped inside. The people who care about you. Naruto looked away. I don't know if anyone does. I do. The words came naturally. Naruto looked up. Yugito seemed surprised that she had said them. Neither moved. Then Naruto smiled. Thanks. Yugito looked away. Don't make it strange. I wasn't. You were. I wasn't. You were. Naruto laughed. For a moment, the darkness lifted. Then something exploded outside. The window shattered. Yugito immediately drew her sword. Naruto rolled across the floor. A black-clad shinobi landed inside the room. His face was hidden. He attacked Naruto. Naruto blocked. The attacker moved incredibly fast. Yugito joined the fight. The room was too small. Naruto jumped through the broken window. The attacker followed. Yugito came after them. They landed on the roof. 5 more enemies appeared. Naruto looked around. Again. Yugito sighed. You attract trouble. That's not fair. It is absolutely fair. The attackers surrounded them. The leader raised his hand. Take the Jinchūriki alive. Naruto grinned. You should have said that before. His chakra exploded. Shadow clones appeared across the rooftop. Because now I'm angry. The clones attacked. Yugito transformed partially, flames surrounding her body. The battle became chaos. One enemy threw a sealing chain. Naruto dodged. Another chain wrapped around his arm. The moment it touched him, Naruto felt his chakra being drained. He gritted his teeth. The nine tails roared inside him. Break it. Naruto pulled. The chain tightened. Break it. Red chakra erupted. The chain shattered. Naruto stared at his hand. His chakra had changed again. It was darker, hotter, more violent. The attacker froze. Naruto appeared in front of him. Wrong target. He struck. The man crashed through a wall. Yugito finished the last attacker. Silence returned. She looked at Naruto. His eyes were still glowing faintly red. Naruto. He looked at her. I know. You're losing control. No. Naruto looked at his hands. I'm not. Then a voice spoke inside his mind. Not yet. Naruto stiffened. The nine tails. It had spoken without being summoned. You are touching my chakra. Naruto closed his eyes. Why? Because you need it. For what? Silence. Then, to survive what is coming. Naruto opened his eyes. What is coming? The nine tails laughed. War. 3 days later, Naruto received permission to return to Konoha. Yugito was ordered to accompany him. Neither protested. The official reason was to investigate the attackers. The unofficial reason was obvious. Kumo wanted to know what Konoha knew. And Naruto wanted answers. They left at sunrise. The journey was quiet. For the first day, Naruto barely spoke. On the second, he began training while traveling. On the third, Yugito noticed something strange. You're trying to sense the nine tails. Naruto nodded. It's helping. Helping. Sometimes. That sounds dangerous. It is. Yugito sighed. Of course it is. Naruto smiled. You're worried. I'm practical. Same thing. No. Yes. No. Naruto laughed. Yugito smiled. But the smile disappeared when they reached the border. There were no birds. No insects. Nothing. Naruto stopped. Something's wrong. Yugito drew her sword. I know. They entered the forest carefully. 10 minutes later, they found the bodies. 4 Konoha shinobi. Dead. Naruto's expression hardened. Yugito crouched beside one. Fresh. Naruto looked around. Who did this? A voice answered from the trees. You. Naruto spun. A Konoha Anbu appeared. His mask was broken. Blood covered his shoulder. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stepped forward. Who are you? The Anbu removed his mask. Naruto didn't recognize him. But the man's next words made his blood run cold. Don't go back to Konoha. Why? They're waiting for you. Who? The shinobi grabbed Naruto's arm. The people who killed your parents. Naruto's eyes widened. Tell me who. The man looked toward the road. Danzo. Silence. Yugito's expression changed. Naruto had heard the name. Shimura Danzo. A former elder. A man who had advised the Hokage. A shadow operating beneath Konoha's official government. Naruto remembered something Kakashi had once told him. Some shinobi protect the village from the shadows. He had never asked what that meant. Now he knew. Where is he? The Anbu whispered. Under Konoha. Then he died. Naruto stood motionless. Yugito touched his shoulder. What will you do? Naruto looked toward the distant village. His eyes were cold. I'm going home. Konoha appeared on the horizon at sunset. Naruto stood on a hill overlooking the village. The Hokage monument was visible in the distance. The faces of the great Hokage looked down upon the village. Naruto stared at them. Once, he had dreamed of seeing his own face carved into that mountain. Now he wasn't sure he wanted it. Yugito stood beside him. You don't have to do this tonight. Naruto shook his head. Yes. You're angry. Yes. Anger makes people careless. Naruto looked at her. I know. Then why go? Naruto's eyes hardened. Because someone has spent my entire life deciding what I deserve to know. He clenched his fist. That's over. They descended the hill. Neither noticed the figure watching them from the trees. A man wearing a dark cloak. His face hidden. His eyes fixed on Naruto. He spoke quietly into a communication device. The Nine Tails host has returned. A voice answered. And the two tails. The man looked at Yugito. She is with him. Silence. Then, excellent. The man smiled. Proceed to the next stage. Far away, beneath the earth, a sealed door opened. Behind it stood a man with bandages covering half his face. Danzo Shimura. He looked at an old scroll. On the scroll was the Uzumaki symbol. Beside it was another seal. A seal Naruto had never seen. Danzo's mouth curved into a thin smile. So, he whispered, Minato's son has finally come looking for the truth. His fingers tightened around the scroll. Let's see how much truth he can survive. Above the village, thunder rolled. And somewhere inside Naruto's mind, the Nine Tails spoke once more. Do not trust the village. Naruto stopped walking. Yugito looked at him. What is it? Naruto stared toward Konoha. The fox. What did it say? Naruto's voice was barely a whisper. It told me not to trust my home. Yugito looked toward the village. Then she drew her sword. Then we don't trust it. Naruto smiled. Together, they walked through the gates. Neither of them knew that before sunrise, Konoha would change forever. Konoha. Konoha had never looked so unfamiliar. Naruto had spent most of his life inside those walls. He knew every major street, every shortcut, every training ground, every ramen shop, every roof where he had once sat alone and watched people walk beneath him. Yet that evening, the village felt like a stranger. The gates opened. Naruto stepped inside. Yugito followed. Immediately, several shinobi turned toward them. Whispers began. Is that Naruto? Why is he back? Who is the Kumo Kunoichi? Isn't she a Jinchūriki? Naruto heard all of it. Normally, he would have shouted. This time, he kept walking. Yugito noticed. You're quiet. Naruto smiled faintly. I'm trying something new. What? Not punching everyone who annoys me. Impressive. I know. They reached the administrative district. Naruto expected Kakashi. Instead, two Anbu blocked the path. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto stopped. Yes. You were ordered to report immediately to the Hokage. Naruto looked at Yugito. She raised an eyebrow. Naruto turned back. Who gave the order? The Anbu hesitated. The Hokage. Naruto frowned. Which one? Silence. Yugito's hand moved toward her sword. Naruto stepped forward. I'm going to see Kakashi first. The Anbu moved. You don't have clearance. Naruto's expression hardened. I've been away from this village for weeks. He pointed toward the Hokage tower. I've been attacked twice. Your safety. My safety. Naruto laughed bitterly. You're worried about my safety now. The Anbu didn't answer. Naruto's chakra rose. Yugito stepped closer. Don't. Naruto exhaled. Then a familiar voice came from behind them. That's enough. Kakashi appeared. Naruto stared. Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi looked at him. Then at Yugito. You two are early. Naruto blinked. Early. Your mission isn't officially finished. You knew. Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. Knew what? That someone was after me. Silence. Kakashi's expression changed. Only slightly. But Naruto noticed. You did. Kakashi looked toward the Anbu. Leave us. The two shinobi disappeared. Kakashi turned back. Come with me. Dash dash dash. They entered an empty training ground. Kakashi sat beneath a tree. Naruto remained standing. Talk. Kakashi sighed. You've changed. That's not an answer. I know. You knew something about my parents. Kakashi's eye widened. Who told you? Naruto laughed. So you did. Kakashi looked away. Your father was complicated. My father. Naruto stepped closer. I've spent my entire life knowing one thing about him. What? That he was the fourth Hokage. Kakashi said nothing. I never knew his voice. He swallowed. I never knew what he liked. His fists tightened. I never knew what he thought of me. Kakashi closed his eye. I was there. Naruto froze. What? The night you were born? Naruto stared. Kakashi continued. I was there when the Nine Tails attacked. Then tell me. I can't. Why? Because I gave my word. To whom? Kakashi didn't answer. Naruto's anger rose. Who? Kakashi finally looked at him. Your father. Naruto went silent. Kakashi stood. Minato made me promise that if something happened to him, I would protect you. You did a terrible job. The words came out before Naruto could stop them. Kakashi flinched. Naruto immediately regretted it, but Kakashi only nodded. You're right. That answer surprised Naruto. I failed you. The wind moved through the trees. I should have been there. Naruto looked away. Then why weren't you? Because after Minato died, I was ordered to stay away from you. By who? Kakashi's expression became cold. Danzo. Naruto's heart sank. Why? Because they believed that if I became too close to you, I might tell you the truth. What truth? Kakashi reached into his vest. He removed a small photograph. Naruto took it. It showed Minato, Kushina, and a newborn baby, Naruto. He stared at the photograph for a long time. His hands trembled. I never saw this. I know. Why? Because Danzo collected every surviving photograph, record and personal document related to your family. Naruto looked up. Why would he do that? Kakashi's voice was quiet. Because your father discovered that someone inside Konoha had helped orchestrate the Nine Tails attack. Naruto froze. Who? We don't know. You're lying. No. You're still protecting them. I am. Naruto stared at him. Kakashi continued. Because if the person who ordered the attack is still alive, revealing everything without proof could start another war. Naruto laughed. So everyone wants me to wait. Yes. I'm done waiting. That night, Naruto couldn't sleep. He sat on the floor of his apartment. The photograph rested in front of him. His parents were smiling. His mother looked happy. His father looked peaceful. Naruto stared at them. I wish I remembered you. A voice answered. You do. Naruto froze. He looked around. The room was empty. Then he realized. The voice wasn't in the room. It was inside him. The Nine Tails. You're awake. I never sleep. Naruto leaned back. What did you mean? Your mother. Naruto's eyes widened. What about her? She spoke to me. Naruto sat upright. When? Before the seal was completed. What did she say? The fox's enormous eyes appeared behind the bars of the inner cage. She told me about you. Naruto's breathing stopped. What? She knew she would die. The Nine Tails looked away. She asked me to protect you. Naruto stared. You're lying. I have no reason to lie. Naruto stepped closer to the cage. What did she say? The fox's expression changed. She said. Its voice became quieter. He is my son. He may be born with your hatred, but he does not have to inherit it. Naruto's eyes filled with tears. He turned away. For years, he had believed his parents had left him. Now he understood. They hadn't abandoned him. They had died trying to protect him. Naruto wiped his face. Why didn't you tell me? The Nine Tails laughed bitterly. Would you have listened? Naruto thought about it. No. Exactly. The next morning, Naruto went to the Hokage Tower. Kakashi met him at the entrance. You're not supposed to be here. I need records. What records? Everything concerning the Nine Tails attack. Kakashi shook his head. Restricted. Naruto smiled. I figured. Then why ask? Because I wanted to be polite. Kakashi sighed. Naruto. A voice interrupted. You cannot access those records. Naruto turned. An elderly council member stood behind them. 2 guards surrounded him. Naruto recognized the man. Homura Mitokado, one of the village elders. Naruto looked at him. Why? Because they concern national security. They concern my parents. They concern the village. Naruto's eyes narrowed. I am part of the village. Homura's expression hardened. You are the vessel of the 9 tails. The words hung in the air. Yugito stepped forward. Careful. Homura looked at her. This is Konoha business. Yugito smiled coldly. No. She pointed toward Naruto. This is his life. Homura ignored her. You should return to Kumo. Naruto stepped forward. I'll leave when I have answers. You are being reckless. I've been called worse. Homura's expression changed. Your father was reckless too. Naruto froze. What did you say? Homura turned away. Enough. Naruto grabbed his shoulder. Tell me what happened. The guards moved. Kakashi stepped between them. Don't. Naruto stared at Kakashi. Move. No. Move. Kakashi's eye became serious. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Then explain it. I can't. Naruto's chakra surged. Yugito grabbed his wrist. Not here. Naruto looked at her, then slowly lowered his hand. Homura walked away, but Naruto heard him whisper something. Just like Minato. Naruto's eyes hardened. That afternoon, Naruto went to the library. He wasn't alone. Yugito followed. Kakashi had given them one clue. Old sealing records were kept beneath the village archive. The archive itself was accessible. The underground vault wasn't. Naruto found the entrance behind a shelf. Yugito looked at the lock. Can you open it? Naruto grinned. I'm a ninja. You didn't answer. I can't. Yugito sighed. Naruto produced a small scroll. Fortunately, I know someone who can. A shadow clone appeared. The clone immediately began working on the seal. 5 minutes later, click. The door opened. Yugito stared. You made a clone specifically to break a lock. Naruto shrugged. Efficiency. They descended. The underground archive was enormous. Thousands of scrolls filled the shelves. Naruto activated his chakra sensing. There's something here. What? Red chakra. Yugito frowned. They followed it. At the end of the corridor was a sealed chamber. The door carried the Uzumaki symbol. Naruto placed his hand against it. The seal reacted. Light spread across the surface. Yugito stepped backward. Naruto. I know. The door opened. Inside was a single scroll. Naruto picked it up. The moment he touched it, the room changed. A projection appeared. A woman. Red hair. Tired eyes. A warm smile. Naruto dropped the scroll. Mom. Yugito stared. The woman in the projection smiled. Hello. Naruto couldn't breathe. The projection continued. If you're seeing this, then you're old enough to understand. Naruto's eyes filled with tears. Kushina's voice echoed through the chamber. Your father and I knew there was a possibility that we wouldn't survive the night you were born. Naruto covered his mouth. So we prepared this message. Kushina looked directly at him. My son. Naruto whispered. Mom, I wish I could hold you. She smiled. But if you're watching this, then you're alive. The projection flickered. There are people who will tell you that the 9 tails attacked Konoha because of hatred. Naruto stared. That isn't the whole truth. Yugito leaned closer. Kushina continued. The beast was controlled. Naruto's eyes widened. By someone wearing a mask. The same words as the stranger. The masked man manipulated the 9 tails. Kushina's expression became serious. But he was not alone. Naruto whispered. Who else? The projection began to fade. Before it disappeared, Kushina said. Trust the one who carries the moon beneath his eye. Then darkness. Naruto stared at the empty room. What does that mean? Yugito shook her head. I don't know. Naruto looked at the scroll. Then he noticed something. A small mark. A crescent moon. and beneath it, a single letter. D. Naruto's face became cold. Danzo. They didn't make it out of the archive. The moment they reached the upper corridor, the lights went out. Yugito drew her sword. Naruto activated his chakra. Someone's here. A voice came from the darkness. You should not have opened that chamber. Naruto turned. A masked man stood at the end of the corridor. Not the same attacker. This mask had no symbol. Only a single eye hole. Naruto stepped forward. Who are you? The man laughed. Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because I'm tired of people hiding. Naruto's chakra exploded. The man moved. Their fists collided. The shockwave shattered several shelves. Naruto slid backward. Yugito attacked from the side. The masked man blocked her sword with one arm. Impossible. Yugito's eyes widened. The man kicked her across the corridor. Naruto caught her. You okay? She nodded. I'm fine. The masked man raised his hand. A strange seal appeared. Naruto felt the nine tails roar. Run. Naruto froze. The fox had never sounded afraid before. The seal activated. Black chains erupted from the floor. Naruto jumped. Yugito cut through them. More appeared. The masked man spoke. Your mother was stronger than you. Naruto's eyes became red. Don't talk about her. She knew what you would become. Naruto attacked. The man dodged. She knew the nine tails would eventually awaken. Naruto struck again. The man blocked. She knew the seal would weaken. Naruto screamed. Shut up. Red chakra exploded from his body. The corridor shook. His pupils narrowed. Four tails almost formed. Yugito stared. Naruto. He couldn't hear her. The nine tails chakra consumed him. The masked man smiled. Yes. The man spread his arms. Let me see it. Naruto roared. Then everything went black. When Naruto opened his eyes, he was standing in the inner world. The cage was broken. The nine tails stood directly in front of him. Not behind bars. Free. Naruto stared. What happened? The fox looked at him. The seal is failing. Naruto swallowed. Can you control yourself? The nine tails laughed. I don't need to. Naruto looked around. The inner world was collapsing. Water rose around their feet. Cracks appeared in the walls. Then what do we do? The fox stepped closer. You have two choices. What? Become my vessel. Naruto frowned. Or become my partner. Naruto stared at it. What does that mean? The nine tails lowered its enormous head. It means you stop thinking of me as a weapon. Naruto looked into its eyes. And you stop thinking of me as a cage. The fox smiled. You learn quickly. Naruto extended his hand. The nine tails stared at it. Then, slowly, it lowered one enormous claw. Naruto touched it. The moment they connected, boom, a massive wave of chakra erupted. The broken seal reformed. But this time, it was different. The cage disappeared. In its place was a bridge. A connection. Naruto opened his eyes. His chakra was no longer red. It was golden. Yugito was standing over him. The masked man was gone. The archive was burning. Naruto. He sat up. Yugito stared at him. What happened to you? Naruto looked at his hands. Golden chakra flickered around his fingers. He smiled. I think. He looked toward the ceiling. I made a friend. Yugito stared. You're insane. Maybe. She helped him stand. Then Naruto saw something on the floor. A piece of the masked man's cloak. On it was an insignia. A black crescent. And beneath it, the same letter. D. Naruto picked it up. His smile disappeared. Danzo. Yugito nodded. Then that's where we're going. Naruto looked toward the burning archive. No. He turned toward the village. We're going to find him. Deep beneath Konoha, Danzo received the report. The nine tails had changed. The archive had been compromised. Naruto had discovered the message. Danzo stood in a dark chamber surrounded by root shinobi. One of them asked, "Should we eliminate him?" Danzo looked toward a sealed door. "No." "Why?" Danzo smiled. "Because the boy has finally awakened." He walked toward the door. Behind it was a massive stone chamber. At its center was a statue. Ancient. Broken. Its eyes were sealed. Danzo placed his hand against it. Soon, the statue's eyes opened. A faint red glow appeared. Danzo whispered, "Minato's son will lead us to the final seal." Above Konoha, the moon emerged from the clouds. Naruto stood on the Hokage monument. Yugito stood beside him. He looked down at the village. For the first time, he wasn't looking at it as a lonely boy dreaming of becoming Hokage. He was looking at it as a shinobi who had finally discovered that the village he loved had secrets buried beneath its foundations. And somewhere beneath those foundations was the truth about his parents. Naruto clenched his fist. "We find Danzo." Yugito nodded. "And then?" Naruto looked toward the darkness beyond the village. "Then we find the masked man. And after that," Naruto's golden chakra flickered, "we find out who started the war." Thunder rolled in the distance. But this time, Naruto didn't fear it. He smiled. "Let's go." Neither of them noticed the figure standing on the roof behind them. A silver-haired man. One visible eye. A mask covering the lower half of his face. Kakashi watched Naruto disappear into the night. His expression was filled with something Naruto had never seen before. Fear. And regret. Kakashi whispered, "I'm sorry, Naruto." Then he looked toward the Hokage tower. "Your father wanted you protected from this." His hand tightened into a fist. "But perhaps," he looked back toward the darkness, "you were always meant to uncover it." Rain began before midnight. It fell softly over Konoha, turning the rooftops silver beneath the moonlight. Naruto and Yugito moved across the village without speaking. They had one objective: find Danzo. The problem was that Danzo had spent decades making sure nobody could find him. Naruto landed on the roof of an abandoned warehouse. Yugito landed beside him. "Any idea where to start?" Naruto shook his head. "No." "Excellent. I have a plan." "You don't." "I have the beginning of a plan." "That isn't better." Naruto smiled. "Where's Kakashi?" Yugito's expression changed. "You think he'll help?" "I don't know. But you trust him." Naruto looked toward the Hokage tower. "I want to." That was the problem. He wanted to trust Kakashi. He wanted to believe the man who had taught him how to climb trees, control chakra, and survive impossible missions. But there were too many secrets. Too many years of silence. Yugito studied him, then asked him. Naruto nodded. "Tomorrow." Yugito frowned. "Why not tonight?" Naruto's expression became serious. "Because if Kakashi is hiding something, I want to know why." Kakashi was waiting for them. He stood beneath the old training ground tree where Team 7 had once gathered. Naruto stopped several meters away. "You knew." Kakashi looked at him. "Yes." "About Danzo?" "Yes." "About the attack?" "Yes." "About my mother?" Kakashi hesitated. "Yes." Naruto's hands trembled. "You knew everything." "No." "You knew enough." Kakashi nodded. "I did." Naruto looked away. For several seconds, only rain could be heard. Then Naruto asked, "Why?" Kakashi's answer was quiet. "Because your father asked me to protect you." "I didn't need protection. You were a child. I needed the truth. You needed to survive." Naruto looked at him sharply. "Is that what you told yourself?" Kakashi didn't answer. Naruto stepped closer. "You watched me grow up alone. I know. You saw everyone hate me. I know. You could have told me who my parents were. I know." Naruto's voice cracked. "Then why didn't you?" Kakashi closed his eye. "Because I was afraid." Naruto stopped. "Afraid of what?" "That I would fail your father again." The words silenced Naruto. Kakashi reached into his pouch. He removed an old metal plate. It was scratched and damaged. On the back was Minato's signature. Naruto stared. Your father gave this to me. When? 3 days before the Nine Tails attack. Kakashi looked at it. He told me something I didn't understand at the time. What? Kakashi's voice became barely audible. He said that if the village ever turned against you, I should take you away. Naruto's eyes widened. Take me away. Far from Konoha. Then why didn't you? Because the Hokage ordered me to stay. Naruto's expression hardened. Who? Kakashi looked directly at him. Hiruzen. Naruto went silent. The third Hokage. The old man who had smiled at him. The man who had told him that his father had been a hero. The man who had watched him grow up. Naruto whispered. Why? Kakashi shook his head. I don't know. Yugito finally spoke. Then perhaps we should stop asking people who don't have answers. Kakashi looked at her. What do you suggest? We find the answers ourselves. Kakashi stared at Naruto. Then he sighed. There is one place. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Where? An old root facility. Root. Kakashi nodded. Danzo's underground organization. Naruto clenched his fists. Take us there. The entrance was hidden beneath an abandoned shrine. Kakashi removed a stone from the floor. A staircase appeared. Naruto looked down. How long has this been here? Longer than you've been alive. They descended. The air became colder. The walls were covered with seals. Some were designed to conceal chakra. Others were designed to kill anyone who entered without permission. Yugito touched one. This place is built like a fortress. It was. Kakashi walked ahead. Root believed secrecy was the highest form of loyalty. Naruto frowned. That's not loyalty. No. Kakashi looked back. It's obedience. The corridor ended at a massive metal door. Kakashi placed his hand against it. The seal activated. The door opened. Inside were hundreds of rooms. Training chambers. Interrogation cells. Storage areas. Medical laboratories. Naruto's stomach turned. What happened here? Kakashi's voice was cold. Things the village didn't want to know about. They walked deeper. Naruto sensed something. Wait. Everyone stopped. Naruto placed his hand against a wall. There are people behind this. Kakashi's eye narrowed. Alive. Yes. Yugito drew her sword. Kakashi broke the seal. The wall opened. Inside were 6 prisoners. All were unconscious. One was wearing a Konoha forehead protector. Another had an old Uzumaki spiral tattoo. Naruto's eyes widened. An Uzumaki. The man opened his eyes. He looked at Naruto. Then he whispered, Minato. Naruto stepped forward. Who are you? The man struggled to sit. My name. He coughed. Is Arashi Uzumaki. Naruto froze. Uzumaki. The man nodded. I survived. Naruto stared. I thought that everyone was dead. Yes, most are. Arashi looked toward the ceiling. But not all. Naruto's heart began racing. Why are you here? Arashi looked at Kakashi. Then at Yugito. Finally, he looked back at Naruto. Because Danzo wanted to know how much of the Uzumaki ceiling art remained. Naruto's expression became dark. What did he do? Captured survivors. And experimented on us. Yugito's face hardened. Naruto's chakra began to rise. Arashi grabbed his wrist. Don't. Naruto looked at him. Why? Because that's what he wants. What? Anger. Arashi looked into Naruto's eyes. Danzo doesn't fear strong shinobi. Naruto frowned. He fears unpredictable ones. Arashi told them the story. Years ago, several Uzumaki survivors had escaped the destruction of their homeland. Some reached Konoha. Some reached other nations. Danzo had secretly tracked them. He believed their sealing techniques could be weaponized. The prisoners in the facility were used to recreate ancient Uzumaki seals. But there was one seal Danzo could never reproduce. The Soul Chain. A technique capable of binding a Bijuu's chakra without destroying the host. Naruto listened carefully. Why does he need it? Arashi looked at him. Because the 9 tails isn't his true objective. Naruto frowned. What is? The 10 tails. Silence. Yugito's eyes narrowed. What? Arashi shook his head. Not the beast itself. He pointed toward Naruto. The power required to awaken it. Naruto's blood ran cold. The Jinchūriki. Arashi nodded. Exactly. Kakashi stepped forward. Explain. Arashi looked at him. The masked man who controlled the 9 tails wasn't working alone. We know. He was collecting Biju chakra. Why? To recreate something ancient. What? Arashi's voice became quiet. A chakra network. Naruto didn't understand. Arashi continued. The Sage of 6 Paths divided the 10 tails into 9 beings. The Biju. Yes. And the division wasn't perfect. Naruto stared. What do you mean? A fragment remained. A cold silence filled the room. A fragment of the 10 tails. Arashi pointed downward. Buried somewhere beneath the world. Kakashi's expression changed. Where? Arashi smiled sadly. No one knows. Naruto stepped closer. Then why are they searching for it? Because whoever reunites the 9 Biju with that fragment can restore the 10 tails. Yugito looked at Naruto. Naruto understood immediately. If they collect us, they won't need to kill you. Arashi nodded. They only need your chakra. A bell rang. Everyone froze. Kakashi looked toward the corridor. Someone entered. Naruto activated his senses. There are dozens. Yugito drew her sword. Root. Kakashi nodded. Most likely. Arashi grabbed Naruto's arm. There is another way out. Where? Below the medical wing. They moved quickly. Root shinobi flooded the corridors. Masks. Black uniforms. Silent movements. Naruto created clones. The battle began. Kunai flew. Lightning flashed. Yugito moved through the enemy lines like a flame. Kakashi used lightning cutter. Naruto's golden chakra erupted. He moved faster than he had ever moved before. One root shinobi attacked. Naruto caught his wrist. The man's mask cracked. Naruto looked into his eyes. You don't have to do this. The shinobi hesitated. That was enough. Naruto knocked him unconscious. Yugito glanced at him. You're changing. Naruto looked at his hands. I don't want to become like them. Good. He smiled. Still want to hit Danzo. That part is fine. They reached the medical wing. Arashi stopped. There. A massive circular seal covered the floor. Naruto recognized it. What's this? A transportation seal. Where does it go? Outside the village. Kakashi looked at him. Can it take all of us? Arashi nodded. Once. Then activate it. Arashi began working. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber. Leaving already. Everyone turned. Danzo stood at the entrance. He was surrounded by Root. His bandaged arm was visible. His expression was calm. Naruto stepped forward. You. Danzo looked at him. Uzumaki Naruto. You killed my parents. Danzo's face remained emotionless. No. Naruto's chakra flared. You're lying. I did not kill your parents. Then who did? Danzo smiled. Ask your father. Naruto froze. What? Danzo raised his hand. The bandages around his arm shifted. Several Sharingan eyes opened. Yugito stared. Kakashi's expression became horrified. Danzo. Naruto looked at the eyes. Where did you get those? Danzo smiled. From people who died protecting the village. Naruto's golden chakra surged. You stole their eyes. I preserved their power. You stole them. Danzo's expression hardened. You know nothing about sacrifice. Naruto stepped forward. I know enough. Danzo raised his hand. Root attacked. The battle was unlike anything Naruto had experienced. Danzo's shinobi didn't fight like ordinary ninja. They didn't shout. They didn't hesitate. They didn't fear death. They fought as if their own lives meant nothing. Naruto hated it. He moved through them without killing. Yugito fought beside him. Kakashi confronted Danzo. Their battle shook the chamber. Lightning collided with wind. Sharingan against Sharingan. Danzo moved with frightening precision. Kakashi blocked a blade. Danzo struck again. Kakashi barely dodged. You're still protecting him. Danzo's voice was cold. I promised. You always were sentimental. Kakashi attacked. Danzo avoided the strike. You think Minato would approve? Kakashi froze. Danzo smiled. You know what happened that night. Kakashi's eyes widened. You were there. Danzo whispered. Yes. Naruto heard it. He turned. What? Danzo looked at him. Your father wasn't killed by the masked man. Naruto's breathing stopped. The attack was designed to force Minato to use the Reaper Death Seal. Why? Because someone needed him dead. Who? Danzo smiled. That is the question. Naruto's chakra exploded. He rushed forward. Danzo raised his arm. A strange jutsu activated. Naruto's attack passed through him. Naruto landed behind him. What? Danzo's eye closed, then reopened. Naruto felt death. A shadow appeared behind him. Yugito screamed. Naruto. She tackled him. A blade passed through the place where his heart had been. Naruto rolled. He looked at Yugito. She was bleeding. Yugito. I'm fine. You're bleeding. So are you. Naruto touched his cheek. Blood. Danzo watched them. Interesting. Naruto stood. His golden chakra became brighter. The nine tails spoke inside him. He is using forbidden ocular techniques. Naruto answered silently. Can we stop him? Yes. How? Trust me. Naruto closed his eyes. For 1 second, everything became quiet. Then he opened them. Golden eyes. Red pupils. A new pattern appeared around them. Yugito stared. What happened to your eyes? Naruto smiled. I don't know. Danzo's expression changed. For the first time. Fear. Naruto disappeared. Danzo couldn't react. A golden fist struck him. He crashed through the wall. Naruto followed. Another strike. Another. Danzo activated his forbidden technique. Naruto's attack passed through him. But Naruto understood now. The nine tails had warned him. The technique had a limit. Naruto waited. Danzo reappeared. Naruto struck. Danzo vanished again. Naruto waited. Again. Again. Then. Danzo became solid. Naruto hit him directly. Danzo flew across the chamber. The root shinobi froze. Kakashi stared. Yugito smiled. Naruto stood among the ruins. Danzo slowly stood. Blood ran down his face. You. Naruto looked at him. I'm done being afraid. Danzo reached for a sealing tag. Arashi shouted. Naruto. The seal. Naruto turned. The transportation seal was collapsing. Kakashi shouted. Everyone move. Arashi activated it. The chamber filled with light. Naruto grabbed Yugito. Kakashi grabbed Arashi. Danzo watched them disappear. But just before Naruto vanished, he heard Danzo speak. Your father left you more than a name. The light swallowed everything. They appeared in a forest far from Konoha. Naruto fell to his knees. Yugito landed beside him. Kakashi appeared next. Arashi collapsed. Naruto immediately helped him. You okay? Arashi nodded weakly. We survived. Naruto looked toward Konoha. Smoke rose from the village. The battle had left no visible damage from this distance. But Naruto knew. Everything had changed. Kakashi approached. You can't go back. Naruto looked at him. Why? Because Danzo knows you know. Naruto nodded. Then I'm officially a missing nin. Kakashi shook his head. No. Naruto looked at him. Then what? Kakashi removed his forehead protector. He held it out. Not yet. Naruto stared. Kakashi continued. Your father believed that the truth should be protected until you were strong enough to carry it. Naruto took the protector. Am I strong enough? Kakashi looked at him. No. Naruto frowned. Then why give me this? Because you're becoming strong enough. Yugito smiled. That sounds like a challenge. Kakashi looked at her. It is. Naruto tied the protector around his arm. Where do we go? Arashi answered. Uzushio. Naruto looked at him. It's destroyed. Most of it. There are ruins. More than ruins. Arashi looked toward the ocean. There is a hidden sanctuary. Kakashi's eyes narrowed. What kind? An Uzumaki stronghold. Naruto stood. Then that's where we're going. Yugito nodded. Kakashi looked at the dark sky. We'll need supplies. Naruto smiled. And ramen. Yugito laughed. Of course. Arashi smiled weakly. You really are Kushina's son. Naruto froze. He looked at him. You knew my mother. Arashi nodded. She was my cousin. Naruto stared. He swallowed. Your family. Arashi smiled. Yes. For the first time, Naruto felt something he had almost forgotten existed. Belonging. Not as a Jinchūriki. Not as the Nine Tails host. Not as the son of the fourth Hokage. But as an Uzumaki. A family member. A person. Naruto looked toward the distant sea. We're going home. Yugito stood beside him. To a destroyed village. Naruto smiled. Maybe. He tightened his forehead protector. But if there's even one piece left. His golden chakra flickered. I'll rebuild it. Far away, in the ruins beneath Konoha, Danzo watched the empty chamber. A root shinobi approached. Lord Danzo. What? The boy escaped. Danzo nodded. I know. Should we pursue? Danzo looked toward the darkness. No. The shinobi hesitated. Why? Danzo smiled. Because he will lead us to Uzushio. The shinobi's eyes widened. And when he finds the sanctuary? Danzo looked at the Sharingan embedded in his arm. We take everything. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. And somewhere far beyond the land of fire, an ancient seal beneath the ocean began to glow. A voice older than any living shinobi whispered through the darkness. The sea was calm. Too calm. Naruto stood at the bow of the small boat, watching the horizon. For 2 days, the ocean had stretched endlessly around them. No villages. No ships. No islands. Only blue water beneath an endless sky. Yugito sat behind him, sharpening her sword. Arashi was asleep. Kakashi was reading. Naruto glanced backward. You know, for someone who's supposed to be protecting us, Kakashi-sensei seems pretty relaxed. Kakashi didn't look up. I'm reading. We're sailing toward a destroyed village full of secret seals. Correct. Danzo might be following us. Possibly. There might be some ancient Ten Tails fragment hidden underneath the ocean. Kakashi turned a page. Very possible. Naruto stared. And you're reading. It's a good book. Yugito laughed. Naruto shook his head. Unbelievable. Kakashi smiled beneath his mask. You'll learn. Learn what? How to remain calm when everything is falling apart. Naruto looked at the ocean. I think I'm already learning. They reached Uzushio on the 3rd morning. At first, Naruto saw nothing. Only fog. Then Arashi stood. Slow down. Kakashi lowered the sail. What is it? We're close. Naruto activated his sensory abilities. Nothing. Then, a pulse. Faint. Ancient. Naruto's eyes widened. There. The fog began to move. A gigantic stone arch appeared through the mist. It rose from the ocean like the remains of a forgotten gate. Spiral symbols covered its surface. Arashi placed his hand against the boat. Uzumaki chakra. The arch reacted. The water beneath them glowed. A whirlpool opened. Yugito stood. That's supposed to be safe. Arashi smiled. No. Naruto blinked. That's not reassuring. The boat dropped. Naruto shouted. Yugito grabbed the mast. Kakashi remained seated. Arashi closed his eyes. The boat disappeared beneath the water. For several seconds, Naruto could see nothing. Then golden light surrounded them. The ocean vanished. They emerged inside a massive underground cavern. Naruto stared. A city existed beneath the sea. Not ruins. Not completely. Buildings stood beneath enormous stone domes. Ancient bridges connected towers. Seals illuminated the streets. Water flowed through channels cut into the stone. At the center stood a gigantic spiral monument. Naruto couldn't speak. This. Arashi smiled. Welcome to Uzushio. Naruto stepped onto the stone platform. His feet touched the ground. Something inside him reacted. Warmth spread through his body. The nine tails stirred. This place remembers. Naruto frowned. What do you mean? Your blood. Naruto looked around. Why does it feel familiar? Because it was built by your ancestors. Naruto walked slowly. Everywhere he looked, he saw the spiral. On walls, doors, statues, weapons, even the lamps carried the symbol. For the first time in his life, the Uzumaki crest didn't represent loneliness. It represented home. Arashi walked beside him. Uzushio was one of the greatest sealing centers in the world. Naruto touched an ancient wall. What happened? Politics. Naruto sighed. Again. Arashi smiled sadly. Fear. Again. Greed. Naruto nodded. Of course. Yugito walked behind them. You expected something different. Naruto looked at her. I was hoping. They reached the central sanctuary. A massive circular door stood before them. Arashi stopped. This is where the elders lived. Naruto looked at the seal. What does it say? Arashi translated. Only blood may enter. Naruto stepped forward. The seal reacted immediately. The door opened. Everyone stared. Inside was a circular chamber. At its center stood a stone pedestal. On the pedestal was a sword. Naruto approached. The blade was black, not dark gray, not metallic silver, black. The handle was wrapped in red cloth. A spiral was engraved near the guard. Naruto felt chakra coming from it. What is this? Arashi's expression became serious. That is Miyakukiri. Naruto repeated the name. Miyakukiri. The bloodline cutter. Yugito looked at the blade. Why is it called that? Arashi shook his head. Because it was forged to cut through chakra itself. Naruto stared. Like a sealing weapon. More than that. Arashi stepped closer. It can sever chakra pathways. Naruto reached toward it. Arashi grabbed his wrist. Don't. Naruto frowned. Why? Because the sword chooses its wielder. What happens if it doesn't choose me? You'll find out. Naruto laughed nervously. That's reassuring. He touched the handle. The room went silent. The blade began to glow. Red lines spread across the floor. The nine tails roared inside Naruto. Do not draw it. Naruto froze. Why? Because it remembers me. Naruto looked at the sword. What? The nine tails spoke again. That blade was used against the 10 tails. Naruto's eyes widened. You know this sword. I know the one who carried it. Who? The fox became silent. Naruto grabbed the handle. The blade pulled itself free. A shockwave exploded through the chamber. Everyone was thrown backward. Naruto remained standing. The sword in his hand. Black flames moved along the blade. A voice echoed through the sanctuary. Air confirmed. Naruto stared. The sword had spoken. Yugito slowly stood. I officially hate ancient weapons. Kakashi stared at the blade. Naruto. Naruto looked at him. What? Kakashi's expression was unusually serious. Your father knew about this. Naruto's eyes widened. What? Kakashi nodded. Minato once told me that the Uzumaki possessed a weapon capable of cutting through Biju chakra. Naruto looked at Miyakukiri. Why didn't he tell me? Maybe he didn't know where it was. Arashi shook his head. No. Everyone looked at him. He knew. Naruto's grip tightened. How? Arashi pointed toward the pedestal. Because your father came here. Arashi explained. Shortly before the Nine Tails attack, Minato had traveled to Uzushio. He had discovered that someone was attempting to locate the ancient sanctuary. Minato believed the attackers were searching for Miyakukiri. He had hidden several records. Then he returned to Konoha. Naruto listened silently. So he knew all of this. Yes. Why didn't he take the sword? Arashi looked at Miyakukiri. Because the sword wouldn't accept him. Naruto looked down at it. Why me? Arashi smiled. Because you're an Uzumaki. Naruto shook his head. That's not enough. No. Arashi's eyes became serious. There's something else. What? You carry the Nine Tails. Silence. Naruto looked at the sword. The sword reacts to Biju Chakra. Not exactly. Arashi walked toward an ancient wall. He uncovered a carving. It showed a warrior holding Miyakukiri. Behind him were 9 enormous creatures. Naruto recognized them. The Biju. Below them was another symbol. A spiral. And beneath the spiral, a human figure surrounded by 2 different kinds of chakra. One red, one gold. Naruto whispered. What is that? Arashi answered. The first Jinchūriki. Naruto stared. The first. Yes. The sage. No. Arashi shook his head. Someone before him. Naruto frowned. Who? Arashi looked at him. An Uzumaki. The sanctuary shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Kakashi immediately drew a kunai. Someone's here. Naruto activated his senses. He felt them. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Chakra signatures surrounded the sanctuary. Yugito drew her sword. Danzo. Arashi shook his head. No. Naruto looked at him. How do you know? Root Shinobi used suppressed chakra. He closed his eyes. These are different. A massive explosion destroyed the eastern wall. Stone collapsed. A group of masked shinobi entered. Their uniforms were unfamiliar. Black armor. Silver masks. Each mask carried a crescent moon. Naruto's expression changed. The moon symbol. Kakashi nodded. These are the people from the message. Yugito raised her sword. How many? Naruto sensed them. Too many. The leader stepped forward. He removed his mask. A young man with pale eyes stared at Naruto. You are the heir. Naruto lifted Miyakukiri. Who are you? The Moon Sect. Kakashi's eye narrowed. I've heard of them. Naruto looked at him. You have. Only rumors. The leader smiled. We served the ones who existed before the villages. Naruto frowned. What does that mean? The shinobi villages are young. He spread his arms. The world was old before them. Naruto tightened his grip. And you want Miyakukiri? No. The man's eyes moved to Naruto. We want you. The attack began. Naruto moved first. Miyakukiri sliced through a stream of chakra. The enemy's jutsu simply disappeared. Naruto stared. The sword could actually cut techniques apart. He smiled. Okay. Yugito moved beside him. Don't enjoy this too much. No promises. She attacked. Her blade collided with an enemy's staff. Naruto cut through another jutsu. Kakashi fought 3 enemies at once. Arashi activated ceiling barriers. The sanctuary became a battlefield. But the Moon Sect was stronger than expected. Their members moved as if they had trained specifically against Jinchūriki. One attacked Naruto with chains. Naruto cut them. Another used a sealing technique. Yugito destroyed it. Then a third appeared behind Naruto. He didn't notice. Yugito did. She pushed Naruto aside. The attack struck her shoulder. Naruto. He turned. Yugito. She fell. Naruto's eyes changed. The 9 tails roared. Golden chakra exploded from him. The entire chamber shook. The Moon Sect leader smiled. Yes. Naruto looked at him. What? You have awakened it. Awakened what? The connection. Naruto's chakra began merging with the sword. Miyakukiri vibrated. The blade became covered in golden markings. The leader took a step backward. For the first time, he looked afraid. No. Naruto charged. One strike. The leader blocked. The impact shattered his weapon. Naruto struck again. The man's mask broke. He fell. Naruto placed the blade against his throat. Tell me. The man laughed. You still don't understand. Tell me. You are not merely the Nine Tails Jinchūriki. Naruto froze. You are the final piece. Of what? The man's eyes became empty. Of the original seal. His body dissolved into ash. Naruto stared. Yugito approached, holding her injured shoulder. What did he mean? Naruto shook his head. I don't know. Arashi suddenly shouted. Everyone back. The floor began glowing. A massive seal appeared beneath the sanctuary. Kakashi's expression changed. That's not a defensive seal. Arashi looked terrified. No. What is it? A summoning seal. Naruto stared. Summoning what? The answer came from beneath them. A roar. Ancient. Enormous. The entire sanctuary shook. The stone floor cracked. A gigantic eye opened beneath the city. Naruto felt the Nine Tails freeze. For the first time, he heard genuine fear in its voice. It found us. Naruto whispered. What? The fragment. The eye opened wider. The 10 Tails fragment. The sanctuary exploded. Naruto grabbed Yugito. Kakashi grabbed Arashi. The city began collapsing around them. Above the underground sanctuary, the ocean started spinning. A massive whirlpool formed, and beneath it, something ancient began to rise. Naruto stood on a collapsing bridge. Miyakukiri was glowing. Yugito stood beside him. Kakashi and Arashi were behind them. The enormous creature beneath the city opened its second eye. Naruto felt its chakra. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It wasn't merely powerful. It felt empty, hungry, old. The Nine Tails spoke. Do not fight it. Naruto stared. Why? Because you cannot defeat it. Naruto tightened his grip. Then what do we do? The fox answered. Run. Naruto looked at Yugito. She understood immediately. Don't. Naruto smiled. I know. You're going to fight it. No. He raised Miyakukiri. I'm going to cut the seal. Yugito stared. That could destroy the entire sanctuary. Then we do it carefully. Kakashi stepped forward. That's impossible. Naruto smiled. Good. He jumped. Miyakukiri struck the enormous seal. Nothing happened. Naruto gritted his teeth. Come on. He poured golden chakra into the blade. The seal cracked. The creature roared. The entire city shook. Yugito shouted. Naruto. He struck again. The crack widened. Then a voice spoke. Not the Nine Tails. Not the creature. Something else. A woman's voice. Soft. Familiar. Naruto. He froze. The sword stopped. The voice came from inside the seal. Don't destroy it. Naruto's eyes widened. Who are you? The voice answered. I am the first one who carried the beast. Naruto stared. And Uzumaki. Yes. What happened to you? Silence. Then. I failed. The creature roared again. The seal began collapsing. The woman whispered. You must finish what I could not. Naruto's heart pounded. What? Bring the 9 together. Naruto stared. That will create the 10 tails. No. The voice became stronger. Bring the 9 together. The seal shattered. To free them. Naruto's eyes widened. The 9 tails suddenly spoke. Now. Naruto understood. He raised Miyakukiri. Golden chakra exploded from his body. The blade descended. The seal broke. But instead of releasing the creature, the ancient chakra beneath the city was severed. A massive shockwave spread through the ocean. The enormous eye disappeared. The sanctuary fell silent. Naruto landed. The sword remained in his hand. Yugito approached. Is it over? Naruto looked at the broken seal. No. He looked toward the ocean. Something escaped. Kakashi stared. What? Naruto's senses expanded. He felt 9 distant chakra signatures. Not Biju. Fragments. Small pieces. Moving away. Arashi's face went pale. The fragment split itself. Naruto nodded. Into 9 pieces. Kakashi's expression became grim. And if someone collects them? Naruto looked toward the horizon. They can rebuild it. Yugito tightened her grip on her sword. Then we stop them. Naruto smiled. Together. Far away. Beneath Konoha, Danzo received the news. The root messenger was shaking. The sanctuary is gone. Danzo looked up. And the fragment. Separated. How many pieces? 9. Danzo closed his eyes. Then smiled. Excellent. The messenger stared. My lord. Danzo looked toward a map. 9 locations were marked across the world. 9 points of light appeared. Danzo whispered. Now the real hunt begins. At sea, Naruto stood at the bow of a new ship. The old one had been destroyed. Kakashi navigated. Yugito sat beside Naruto. Arashi studied an ancient map. Naruto looked at the horizon. Where first? Arashi pointed toward the map. The nearest fragment. Where? The land of water. Naruto nodded. Then that's where we go. Yugito smiled. Another adventure. Naruto laughed. Another disaster. Kakashi looked over his shoulder. Probably both. The wind filled the sails. The ship moved east. Behind them, the ruins of Uzushio disappeared into the fog. Naruto touched Miyakukiri. The sword pulsed once. Then twice. The 9 tails spoke inside him. Uzumaki. Naruto smiled. What? You finally have a path. Naruto looked toward the horizon. For the first time, he clenched his fist. I know where I'm going. But far beneath the sea, something else watched them leave. A single golden eye opened in the darkness. And a voice whispered, the air has awakened. Now awaken the others. 3 days after leaving Uzushio, the sea changed. Naruto noticed it before anyone else. The wind had become colder. The waves moved strangely. And beneath the ship, something kept following them. Naruto stood at the bow, staring into the dark water. Yugito joined him. You've been staring at the ocean for 20 minutes. Something is there. A fish. No. A very large fish. Naruto shook his head. Something with chakra. Yugito's expression became serious. How strong? Naruto closed his eyes. Not strong. He paused. Old. That single word made Yugito uncomfortable. Behind them, Kakashi approached. Arashi found something. Naruto turned. What? Kakashi held up an ancient scroll. The fragment isn't on land. Naruto frowned. Then where? Kakashi pointed beneath them. The ocean. Naruto looked down. Yugito sighed. Of course. Naruto smiled. It's always more complicated. The ship stopped above a deep section of the ocean. Arashi studied the map. The fragment is beneath us. How deep? Very. Naruto looked at Kakashi. Can we swim? Kakashi stared. Do you have gills? Naruto considered it. No. Then no. Naruto crossed his arms. I'm a shinobi. You're not a fish. Yugito laughed. Arashi pointed toward the map. There is an old Uzumaki breathing seal. Naruto's eyes lit up. See. Kakashi sighed. Of course. Arashi explained the technique. The seal could create a temporary chakra barrier around the body. It wouldn't allow someone to breathe underwater forever. But it would allow approximately 20 minutes. Naruto grinned. More than enough. Kakashi shook his head. 20 minutes is not enough to explore an unknown underwater ruin. Naruto pointed toward himself. 20 minutes is enough for me. Yugito stood. Then I'm coming. Naruto looked at her injured shoulder. You're still hurt. I'm fine. You said that last time. And I was fine. You were bleeding. Minor detail. Naruto sighed. Fine. Kakashi raised his hand. I'm coming too. Arashi remained on the ship. Someone has to keep the seal active. Naruto nodded. Stay here. Arashi smiled. Be careful. Naruto jumped into the water. Yugito followed. Kakashi sighed. Then followed them. Dash dash dash. The ocean swallowed the sunlight quickly. Within seconds, Naruto could no longer see the ship. The underwater seal activated. A thin layer of chakra surrounded his body. He could breathe. Barely. Yugito swam beside him. Kakashi moved ahead. Naruto looked down. The ocean floor seemed endless. Then he saw it. A structure. Massive stone pillars emerged from the darkness. Naruto's eyes widened. He pointed. Kakashi nodded. They descended. The deeper they went, the more ancient the ruins became. Spiral symbols appeared everywhere. Naruto touched one. A pulse traveled through his hand. He heard a whisper. Blood remembers. Naruto pulled his hand away. Yugito noticed. What happened? Nothing. She frowned. You're lying. Naruto smiled. I'll tell you later. They reached a giant doorway. It was sealed. Naruto placed his hand against it. The door opened. Inside was a temple. A massive statue stood in the center. 9 tails were carved behind it. Naruto stared. As that, Arashi's voice came through the communication seal. Don't touch anything. Naruto immediately pulled his hand back. Wasn't going to. Kakashi looked at him. You were absolutely going to. Naruto ignored him. Something moved in the darkness. Yugito drew her sword. Naruto grabbed Miyakukiri. A creature emerged. It looked like a giant eel. But its body was covered in seals. Its eyes were completely white. Kakashi's voice became serious. That's a guardian. Naruto frowned. Guardian of what? The creature roared. The temple shook. Naruto smiled. Probably the fragment. Yugito sighed. Why are you smiling? Because we found it. Dash dash dash. The guardian attacked. Naruto barely dodged. The creature's body smashed into the temple wall. Stone exploded. Yugito attacked from the side. Her blade cut through its scales. The creature screamed. Kakashi used lightning cutter. The jutsu struck the guardian's head. But the creature regenerated. Naruto stared. That's annoying. Yugito nodded. Very. The guardian opened its mouth. A massive wave of chakra rushed toward them. Naruto raised Miyakukiri. He slashed. The wave split apart. Naruto looked at the sword. That's useful. Kakashi shouted. Focus. The creature attacked again. Naruto jumped onto its back. He ran along its body. Miyakukiri began glowing. The 9 tails spoke. Its chakra is connected to the fragment. Naruto frowned. Then if I cut it, you will hurt the fragment. Naruto stopped. He understood. The guardian wasn't protecting the fragment. It was part of it. Naruto lowered his sword. Yugito shouted. What are you doing? Don't attack it. The guardian lunged. Naruto stood still. He closed his eyes. The 9 tails chakra spread through him. Golden light surrounded his body. The guardian stopped. Its enormous eyes stared at Naruto. Naruto reached toward it. I know you're scared. The creature roared. I know. Naruto kept his hand extended. You're protecting something. The creature's chakra changed. The violent energy became unstable. Naruto felt another consciousness. Not human. Not Biju. Something older. A memory. A battlefield. 9 enormous creatures. A man standing before them. And a young Uzumaki woman holding Miyakukiri. Naruto watched. The woman screamed. Run. The vision changed. The 10 tails fragment was being sealed. The woman sacrificed herself. The guardian was born. Naruto opened his eyes. You're her protector. The creature became still. Yugito stared. What happened? Naruto didn't answer. He stepped toward the guardian. I won't hurt it. The creature lowered its head. Naruto touched its forehead. The seals covering its body began to glow. Then they disappeared. The creature dissolved into light. At the center of the temple floated a small sphere. Black, with 9 golden lines. Naruto reached for it. The 9 tails whispered, "Careful." Naruto touched the sphere. The entire ocean shook. Naruto found himself somewhere else. He stood on a battlefield. Thousands of shinobi surrounded him. The sky was red. The ground was covered in broken weapons. 9 enormous beasts stood behind a single man. The man had long hair. A strange staff rested in his hand. Naruto recognized him. The sage. The man turned. He looked directly at Naruto. "You are not supposed to be here." Naruto froze. "Who are you?" The man smiled. "You know." Naruto stepped forward. "You're the sage of 6 paths." "Yes." "Why am I seeing you?" "You are not seeing me." Naruto frowned. "This is a memory." "Correct. Then why can you talk to me?" The sage's expression became serious. "Because this memory was created for you." Naruto stared. "By who?" The sage pointed behind him. The young Uzumaki woman stood there. Naruto's heart skipped. "Who is she?" "My first student." "An Uzumaki?" "Yes." "What's her name?" The sage looked at the woman. "Akari." Naruto whispered. "Akari." The sage continued. "She discovered something I did not." "What?" "That chakra could connect people." Naruto looked at his hands. "She believed the Biju did not need to be controlled." "Yes. She was right." "She was." Naruto looked at him. "Then why did you divide the 10 tails?" The sage's expression became sad. "Because I was afraid." Naruto was stunned. "Afraid?" "Yes." "Of the 10 tails." "Of myself." The sage looked toward the 9 beasts. "Power changes people." Naruto nodded. "I know." The sage smiled. "Then you understand." Suddenly, the memory began collapsing. Naruto shouted, "Wait." The sage turned. "One warning." "What?" "Someone is already collecting the fragments." Naruto's eyes widened. "Who?" The sage looked toward the darkness. "A man who believes peace can only exist when everyone is controlled." Naruto's heart stopped. "Danzo." The sage nodded. "And another." "Who?" A shadow appeared. A masked figure. The same man from the 9 tails attack. Naruto rushed toward him. "Who are you?" The masked man removed his mask. Naruto froze. The face beneath it was familiar. Too familiar. It was Obito Uchiha. Naruto's eyes widened. "You're..." The memory shattered. Naruto woke underwater. Yugito was holding him. "Naruto." He coughed. "What happened?" "You disappeared." "What?" "You were unconscious for almost 10 minutes." Naruto looked around. The temple was shaking. The black sphere was gone. He looked at his hand. A golden mark had appeared on his palm. Yugito stared. "What is that?" Naruto looked at it. "I don't know." Kakashi's voice came through the communication seal. "Naruto." Naruto looked toward him. Kakashi was frozen. His eyes were fixed on Naruto. "What?" Kakashi whispered. "Did you see him?" Naruto nodded. "Obito." Kakashi's face went pale. Naruto understood. "You know him." Kakashi looked away. "Yes." "Who is he?" Kakashi didn't answer. Naruto grabbed his shoulder. "Who is he?" Kakashi's voice broke. "My teammate." Naruto froze. "Your teammate?" "Obito Uchiha." Kakashi closed his eye. "He died during the Third Great Ninja War." Naruto stared. "But I saw him." "I know. He was the masked man." Kakashi said nothing. Naruto's expression hardened. "You knew." "I suspected." "That's not enough." Kakashi looked at him. "I saw him die." Naruto's voice became cold. "Then someone brought him back." Kakashi shook his head. "No." "What?" "Obito wasn't brought back." Kakashi looked toward the temple. "He never died." The temple exploded. Kakashi grabbed Naruto. "Move." They escaped as the underwater structure collapsed. The 4 of them returned to the surface. The ocean erupted behind them. Arashi pulled them onto the ship. Naruto immediately turned toward Kakashi. Tell me everything. Kakashi remained silent. Naruto's anger rose. Now, Kakashi looked at him. Obito was my teammate. You said that. He was believed to have died during a mission. What happened? A cave collapsed. And I saw him crushed. Naruto stared. You saw his body. No. Silence. That was the problem. Kakashi closed his eye. There was never a body. Naruto looked toward the ocean. So he survived. Yes. And became the masked man. Yes. Why? Kakashi's expression was full of pain. I don't know. Naruto looked at Yugito. She could see the anger building inside him. Then we'll find out. Naruto nodded. But first, he looked at the map. Where is the next fragment? Arashi pointed north. The land of Earth. Naruto smiled. Then we're going there. Dash dash dash. That night, Naruto sat alone. The golden mark on his palm glowed. He entered his inner world. The Nine Tails was waiting. You saw him. Naruto nodded. Obito. Yes. You know him. I know his chakra. Naruto sat down. Was he working with you? No. Was he controlling you? Yes. Naruto stared. Then why didn't you tell me? The fox looked away. Because you were not ready. Naruto laughed. Everyone keeps saying that. You are angry. Yes. Good. Naruto frowned. Good. Anger gives you strength. Naruto shook his head. Not anymore. The fox smiled. Why? Because I don't want strength that controls me. The Nine Tails stared at him. Then slowly nodded. Good answer. Naruto looked at the cage. Can you help me find Obito? The fox's eyes narrowed. Yes. Why? Because I remember him. Naruto stood. Then we'll find him. Dash dash dash. Far away, in an underground chamber, Obito stood before a wall. 9 empty spaces were carved into it. One began glowing. He touched it. The first fragment has awakened. A voice behind him spoke. Who has it? Obito turned. A man wearing a black cloak stood in the shadows. We don't know. The man smiled. But I do. Obito looked at him. Who? The stranger's eyes glowed faintly. Naruto Uzumaki. Obito's expression changed. The Nine Tails host. No. The stranger smiled. The heir. Obito clenched his fist. Then we'll take him. The stranger laughed. No. He stepped forward. We will let him collect the fragments for us. Obito stared. And when he has them all. The stranger's smile became colder. We take them. Dash dash dash. The ship sailed north. Naruto stood at the bow. Yugito joined him. Thinking. Always. She smiled. You're becoming more serious. I've got a lot to think about. She looked at his hand. The mark. Naruto nodded. It feels like something is sleeping inside it. Yugito frowned. Another seal. Maybe. She looked at him. Does it hurt? No. Then don't worry about it yet. Naruto smiled. Thanks. Yugito looked away. Don't get used to me being nice. Naruto laughed. Too late. For several moments, they stood silently. Then Yugito spoke. When this is over. Naruto looked at her. What will you do? Naruto thought. I don't know. Become Hokage. He smiled. Maybe. I used to think becoming Hokage would solve everything. And now, Naruto looked toward the horizon. Now I think I just want a place where people don't have to be afraid of each other. Yugito smiled. That sounds harder. Probably. She looked at him. But worth it. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Neither noticed the dark cloud forming far ahead. Lightning flashed within it. A storm waited over the land of Earth. And beneath the mountains, something ancient had already awakened. A stone door opened. A voice whispered. The first fragment has chosen its heir. Another voice answered. Then prepare the second. 9 lights appeared in the darkness. 1 turned gold. 8 remained black. And somewhere far away, A masked man watched Naruto's ship approach. Obito smiled. "Welcome, Naruto Uzumaki." He touched his mask. "To the next battlefield."